today, me. I feel like every meeting is the same bit over and over again. Remember, we had this bit like a year ago, which is kind of crazy. Just knowing that we've been doing this for a long time already, Baruch Hashem. But we had this bit. There was this time where we would just do. I'm disabling the waiting room, where we would just have the Zoom updates every single night, and that's why people weren't showing up, or that's why this didn't work, that didn't work. It was all great bits. Now the new bit is the Zoom meeting is recording. Davey, what's up, brother?
What's up?
So let's get it going. Let's get going. Oh, Yoni, Rabbi Yoni. So we're talking about the mind right now. Rabbi Nachman is stressing to us. He's screaming at us to guard our thoughts. What does this mean? Guard your thoughts very, very carefully, because thought can literally create a living thing. Let that process. Literally one thought. We have millions of thoughts that are just flying through our heads, like we mentioned last night. One little thought can create an action, either a positive one, right? A positive living thing, or a negative living thing. The higher a faculty, the further it can reach. You can kick something, guys. We have to all pay attention to this. Right, this is very intense Kabbalah, the Kabbalah that Moshe Schiff is doing every single day. And for the casual viewer, you may think he's actually learning Kabbalah every single day. No, it's even deeper than Kabbalah. Maybe if he wants to reveal his secrets, he can. But if not, it's all good. You can kick something with your foot, but you can throw it even higher with your hand. With your voice, you can reach even further. Calling to someone far away. Hearing reaches further. You can hear sounds like gunfire from a great distance. Vision reaches even further. You can see things high in the sky. Wow, we're just getting higher and higher and higher. The higher the faculty, the further it can reach. Highest of all is the mind, which can ascend to the loftiest heights. You must therefore guard your mind and thoughts to the utmost, to the highest level. We must be very, very careful. There's so much to say, but very little to say. I'm going to take this route and really just read it at surface level a million times. Right? We have to understand the mind is so powerful. Right? Rabbi Nachman is telling us that it's the highest of all. It's Gan Eden, Mamish. Right? And we have the ability to be in Gan Eden. We have the ability to choose positivity or negativity. And based off what you choose, that thought will eventually turn into action. Right? A living being almost. So I think this all connects back to, if you're thinking about Aleph, then continue to live and think about Aleph. Right? The more we think about Hashem and His creation, the people in this world, the little not little, but the many technologies in this world, the Torah in this world, the education in this world, and so on and so forth, we'll be able to elevate ourselves in the highest, healthiest, most positive way there can be. And it'll just bring us closer to the Ribbon Hashem, the creator of the world. And the more we connect ourselves through our thoughts, the more we can affect ourselves, and the more we can impact the people around us. So Bezrat Hashem, we should understand how powerful the mind is. It could seem so simple, but it's a lifelong journey, right? Because something so quickly can trigger your mind and bring you into a place you don't want to be in, or vice versa, right? Dafka, the other side, right? We shouldn't just only focus on the negativity. Mamish, you could just look at the screens right now. You can see the l'chaim that Moshe Schiff just did. L'chaim, right? And it brings you to the highest of places. Gewalt, I should be doing l'chaims now. L'chaim on the sunglasses. L'chaim, right? Just l'chaim. You see, it's bringing out smiles right now from Moshe, from Davey behind the camera, from Donnie, wherever he is. Hopefully he's in Israel. He could be in Israel. Who knows? Right? But now we're all smiling and we're joyous together. We're dancing with each other. So Bezrat Hashem, guys, we should continue to just have vision for ourselves, even though vision is not the highest, but we should just have vision for our mind and understand how far, how high it could take us. Mamish past the Shomer. I'm never going to get that out of my head. Past the Shomer. And we could reach the kingdom. Bezrat Hashem. Guys, questions, comments, please feel free.
All right, so I'm sorry. I'm not so like straightforward with it, but I'll say it like this, and only because it might not be so applicable to everyone, but maybe it will help someone out. It's brought down in Kabbalah that not the Kabbalah that I studied during school. That's different Kabbalah. Brought down in Kabbalah that even in the mind there is an aspect of I, right, and that's what is known as the third eye. Which is that which those who speak about Jewish meditation refer to as one is supposed to concentrate on when they're meditating, using their third eye to be able to see further with their mind's eye, basically. That aspect of using the mind's eye is also the aspect of seeing that which you want to happen. As it says in the pasuk, we say it every day, davening, kulam b'chachma asita. Right, you made everything you made with chachma. There's a possibility of reading that pasuk a little differently, understanding it a little differently, and saying kulam b'chachma asita. Everything you made with chachma, meaning that everything in the world has an aspect of chachma, of wisdom, that is basically controlling its being. You might say, what do you mean? A rock doesn't have chachma? How can it be controlled? Well, everyone knows, if you learn the Tanya, that every single aspect that was created in the world has an aspect of spirituality inside of it that's controlled by like a little teensy little bit maybe of chachma. Okay, it's not revealed, but it's still there. So no, I don't know how this will help anyone, but hopefully it will. That using our mind's eye to be able to see that which we want to live and that we want to be. The Rebbe brought down in the year Lubavitch Rebbe brought down in the year Taf Shin Lamed Hey, I think, or Lamed Dalet. I think it was a mimer from last week's Parshat Korach, describing the ability of thought, speech, and action. That when a person thinks, it doesn't mean he's going to talk about it. And when a person talks, it doesn't mean he's going to do it. Right? You can think all you want. I want to do amazing things. I can think that all in my mind. And even then, even though I think it doesn't mean I'll speak about it. And even if I speak about it, it doesn't mean after I speak about it and I say, okay, I want to go do this, I want to go do that. It doesn't mean I'll do all of that. And even when I do it, when I actually do that action, who knows how that action will differ from how I thought about it and how I spoke about it. There's a lot to be said about this. If you want to speak more, contact me. You can look at previous videos for my number. Good luck.
I mean, I do. You just left us on the cliffhanger. It's gewaldic. It's gewaldic. Wow, Baruch Hashem. Let's all contact Moshe. Should we just like make a group chat within the group chat? Like anyone who wants to contact you, just contacts the group chat.
I have a group chat called Tears of Joy. Feel free to join.
All right, Tears of Joy. Chavra, I'm gonna send the link. I'm gonna send the link in the description. Baruch Hashem. Baruch Hashem. Oy, Chavra. Bezrat Hashem. Anyone else? Johnny Seidel.
Sure, I'll go. Something. A couple of things on my mind. I was sort of in and out. My Wi-Fi fluctuated, so I missed certain points. But I heard something about choosing, and then about positivity over negativity, if that was correct. Moshe, I'll be back very soon. Very, very, very soon. A couple days. and also I don't know why I'm on this group, but anyway, there are two things on my mind, but I will. But I'll go with the first one because I think it's quite interesting. Choosing I think at the core, we're all choosing is a sense of freedom and liberty. That that there is a sense that we even in in our religion, even in Judaism, there is a sense, or the tribe, there is a sense of choosing. Like God sort of heteronomously imposes these commandments on us, and to a sense, like, okay, I accept what is given to me. But I think the Gemara Megillah, which it it says, there's not seven Ishmael and Kibbutz Kibbutz, but it talks about the medrash that God put the amount of our head and said, accept it or die. And so, to an extent, there was sort of a coercive act. But when Kibbutz, we took it upon ourselves, like autonomously said, like, we want to do this. And I think that there's a really interesting theory. So there's a sense of like autonomy in it. Like we choose, like God sort of gives us our commands, and we sort of, but at the end of the day, like at the core, we also choose to accept Hashem's commandments. There's an interesting story. Rabbi Ephraim Oshri, who was the rabbi of the Warsaw Ghetto, if I'm not mistaken, wrote a book called Mimamakim, an incredible work on Shutim, which is basically all these questions he received during the Holocaust, crazy questions. There's a story that they were davening Shacharis, and they were start with Berchos HaShachar, and the Chazan, when we got to Shloshani Aved, he's like, I can't say the bracha. I can't say the bracha. And Rabbi Chaim Rashi said, you may be physically enslaved, but you'll never be spiritually enslaved. And to an extent, all right, I'll read it after Moshe. But I think even more than that, like there is a sense of autonomy to the core. Like no matter what, you'll be physically free, no matter what. But I do think that his point was that like Hashem's always there. Hashem's always, even if you're binded, even if you're caged, you could always call to Hashem. The door's always open. And that's something so beautiful that that the Torah teaches and that the rabbis teach that there's always, it's Hashem's always there for you. You can always daven, always pray. We do have times, there is some regulation. That's more for more or less structure. I mean, I could be wrong, but I think a lot of what Chassidut sort of pushes down, I could be wrong on this, and please correct me, but I think there is a sense of like, call to Hashem. Do it, because if you do it more sort of periodically, not that you should like you go beyond, but if you do it, and your own thing, autonomously, it's like, I'm not going to just follow because it says I should do it. As the Mishnah says, like, Antigonus ish sochal, like you should do it because, you want to do it, not because there's someone's giving you a reward. And when it comes from internally, and it's this autonomous expression, it has so much more prowess. And I think that story really is this refined story, Oshri's story, is that, you're not spiritually enslaved. Call to Hashem because you want to call to Hashem. Hashem's waiting for you. You need to take that leap of action. So, yeah.
We just all want to be in Gan Eden. And we can choose to be in Gan Eden.
So Gan Eden, according to the Tanya, is already in this world. So we're already in Gan Eden. We just don't see it. Take what you want from it, but that's what it says in the Tanya. So we're already in Gan Eden. We just don't see it.
No, that could be. It's very true. That's very true. It's very true. Well, then you have to give us a bracha that our eyes should just always be open.
You say it every morning. Okay,
Amen.
Amen. Amen. Baruch Hashem. Daniel, Donnie, Gellis, do you have anything to add before we conclude? Please feel free.
Just to add on that idea, I think that, maybe we're living in Gan Eden in this world. I think that the mistake, I don't want to say the sin, but the mistake of Korach, which we just read about this parsha, was that he wanted to live in a world of unity and of no separation. He wanted to have a direct connection with the Shem where everything was the same. When Moshe, what he couldn't understand about that, he had claimed to be, so to speak, higher than everyone else, and that didn't make sense in his mind because he felt that everything. If you break it up, Korach, you could ask the question, Rak Ches, right? Rak Ches, only 8. Korach wanted to live even beyond 8. He wanted to live in a world that was even higher than 8. So like in his world that he envisioned, everything was equal. Everything was the same. So ultimately, his punishment was that Hashem brought him into the world, brought him back down by swallowing him up to remind him, like, Korach, like, come down from that high place that you're in. But I think that's the power that we have. We have the ability to go. We have the ability to go to places that we can just create in our minds, and we can imagine wherever we want to be. Rabbi Nachman says, you are wherever your mind is. So it's like such a powerful tool that we're capable of experiencing. But I wanted to just ask, like, the Chevra, if, not to necessarily like trick themselves, but are there any times, because, Rabbi Nachman also says elsewhere that even if you don't believe in a certain situation, you should still say, I believe, I believe, I believe, kind of like trick yourself, and eventually you'll believe. So it's like, are there any like techniques that ever have to like trick their minds, or, if their mind's telling them one thing, to think another way, to help them overcome that separation and distance?
It's a beautiful, beautiful question. Just as you were asking the question, I just thought about Max Berger and I, also Samson and I, when I was in Yerushalayim for Shabbos, both with Samson and with Max separately. We'd be walking the streets of Jerusalem, and we all know that Shabbos, and the cars that would be driving, we would just say Gaval, Mazel Tov, like they're going to the hospital for a baby boy, for a baby girl, right? Or was it some type of an emergency? But it was able to keep us in that mind frame of Shabbos, right? We were able to stay in Shabbos. So I guess like it is painting your own reality, and you can, like Rabbi Nachman says, and what you just mentioned, we're able to be in that higher place whenever we like feel like it, really. But if we're so stuck on the cars that are driving on Shabbos, it could bring us lower than Shabbos, right? It could lead to judgment. Who knows? Again, that could lead to action, like Rabbi Nachman said. Just a thought, positive or negative, can lead to a living creature, right, or a living action. So it's almost like we're playing with fire, right? But the more we choose positivity, the more, I guess, the more strength we'll have, the more vision we'll have, the more awareness we'll have. So that's where I'm going with it.
So something that I do personally, it's a brought down teaching from the Alter Rebbe, and it's taught in Hayom Yom for the 18th day of Kislev, the Erev Yud Tes Kislev. It says, I'll read it in English instead of the Yiddish. I'll spare you guys. Tzemach Tzedek writes, the love expressed in Enel Mavado means that one should desire nothing other than God, not even heaven or earth, i.e., higher than Garden of Eden or lower, i.e., the higher Garden of Eden or the lower Garden of Eden. For these are created for the mere Yud. Seder. 1 second. Never mind. I think I quoted the wrong thing. Wait, this is supposed to be it. Oh, wait.
It's the right thing, because Hashem wanted you to quote that.
It's true.
Oh, it's such a finish.
But I have to learn this. What is he talking about? Oh, here it is. Okay. All right. The love that is directed to him alone, to his being in his essence. This was actually expressed by my master and teacher, the Alter Rebbe, when he was in a state of Dveikud, and he exclaimed as follows: I want nothing at all. I don't want your Gan Eden. I don't want your Olam Haba. I want nothing but you alone. So we all know the famous song of Only You that a Rebbe of Davido sings. That was brought down from the Barditch from Michael. What's his last name? Waiting on the last name now. It was brought down from the letter of the Barditch for. We only want God, and that's you asked like what we do. So like, how do I do? Trick myself. I get a bad thought. I'm like, I don't want Gan Eden. I don't even want it. I don't want Olam Haba. I don't want anything. I just want God. And I try to hope, I doubt that will be real. Who knows if it is?
Donald, David, do you guys, I just have this inner fire right now. This inner excitement just being with you guys, really. Do you have any answers for your own questions? Daniel, do you have anything to add? Seidel, feel free. Guys, the gates are open. We're past the shomer already.
I actually wouldn't mind responding to that question. I think it's a good question because we are fallible. There was a concept. I was listening to a podcast and I heard a man by the name of Brett Weinstein taught at a professor. There was actually a whole thing a couple years ago, incident, and he coined a phrase what he calls metaphorical truth. Basically, it's behaving as if something may or may not be true, but behaving as if it is beneficial. So here's an example that porcupines throw their quills, but they don't. It's not true, but behaving as if they are, you'll keep your distance, and that'll be beneficial. And it works for things that are true that and true things that aren't true. And I think Samson's point is very true. I think something works in Judaism. Something there are a lot of things in Yiddishkeit. Basically, like a lot of things that aren't necessarily real. You can't, especially in our day and age, like either let's say like something like Tuma, which again Rambam has his own opinion on it, but really something even like Tuma, like we don't necessarily have that stuff anymore. We can't necessarily see certain supernatural things. We never saw the miracles, but I think there is something about you cultivate this world, you create this world that's fictional to other people. To the rest of the world, it seems ludicrous, but to us, it's very, very real. And behaving, not just believing it's real, but behaving as if it's real, following the routines, habituating yourself is so beneficial, especially whether it's psychologically, economic, it's irrelevant. But I think as a person, I think just for your own Yiddishkeit, for your own personal development, I think there is such beauty in sort of connecting to these ideas, even if they seem so foreign. And washing your hands in the morning, if you're like, oh, I don't really, is there really tuma in my hands? I can't see the tuma. I don't really recognize the tuma. Or you can't carry in Rishos, Rishos Robin, but like I don't really understand that. That's not like scientific, like naturally scientific. But I think that following these guidelines, yes, you'll have your times where it's difficult, but I think that really kind of going back to this is the routine I do, is this what I'm habituated to do because it's so real to me, so true to me, is advantageous at the core.
Whoa. It's too good. It's just too good. Thank you for sharing that, John. Reb Daniel, you have anything to share? Please feel free to unmute yourself. Just you being here is unbelievable. Seeing your face. Donla,
I'm speechless.
Speechless, that's okay. I'm also speechless. Donla, you have any words to share? Any answers for your own question? David, do you have anything to share? Or anyone? I feel like it could be like a whole party that's behind the screen right now. Like a whole brain.
I feel like Reb Nachman, it could be that this Torah that you just revealed, it was brought from his story with the Sophisticated and the Simpleton. For those that don't know it, the Sophisticated is a character that Reb Nachman made up, who is trying to discover how the Simpleton had lived such a happy and wonderful life. And it spotlights the Simpleton's life as he goes home and his wife cooks him a meal, and they're very poor and they don't have money. And he asks, "Can you bring me the best wine that we have, the best wine?" And she pours him like a glass of water, and he's like, "Oh, the best wine. There's nothing better than this." And then he asks, "Can you bring me out a steak?" She brings him like a spoiled, like a rotten piece of bread, and he eats. He's like, "Oh, this steak's like gavald, like it's amazing." And he just kept on going and climbing the levels of his mind. So it's not obviously we could look at Tzaddikim, but Reb Nachman was revealing to us the deepest secret that all it takes is simplicity. It takes us just to be a simpleton, to think that we can transform our reality and uplift it into sparks that only our minds can imagine. and then we start to live with that. And the story actually goes on to say that the simpleton wasn't just faking eating a steak. He actually tasted as if he was eating a steak because he convinced himself that was the way, and that was in front of him. So B'ezrat Hashem, it's, you know, it's in our hands. We're all capable. We're all capable.
You ever get this feeling like you're at a tish and you're just in the highest of places when you sing a beautiful song? Every song is beautiful, but you know, when you really just feel it with the chevra, everyone's involved, everyone's in the circle, the front row, the whole thing. You just can't go to the next song right after. You can't go to the next vort right after. Mamish, I wish we had 30 minutes to just like dwell on the beautiful ideas that everyone shared tonight and then return back here. You know, I just feel like throughout this chabura tonight, we're able to climb the ladder, right? We're able to go from kicking a soccer ball, to reaching the highest of heights with our minds. So B'ezrat Hashem, we should really just internalize what we've all said, because what we've said was just MS. I mean, just hearing you guys and seeing you guys, I'm just looking at real and I'm just tearing up, really. So I'm saying this is really incredible. Like on a Monday night that we could already be thinking about Shabbos. There's a saying in Carlene, we don't change the niggin till the niggin changes. I mean, there's just too much. There's too much. There's too much. Ay, B'ezrat Hashem, guys. B'ezrat Hashem. B'ezrat Hashem, my bracha to all of us is just to live it, mamish. To live and believe it. Guys, nothing but health, happiness, and success. Whether you're on shlichut, mamish, and just firing up yourself and firing up the whole Washington Heights like Daniel Molinsky is, right? Just bring that ish, oh, that we all know so well of him. The smile, the constant smile, the pure simcha. I've never met a more pure simcha kid in my life. Oy, B'ezrat Hashem. Rabbi John, just being in the highest of places under the not under the chuppah, Yirtzeh Hashem soon, but at his best friend's chuppah. But B'ezrat Hashem soon for you, John, or whether you're taking a break from the Kabbalah of mathematics and learning how to build new bridges through the Zoom technology, right? It's so gavaldic what Samson is doing, just finding new ways, new improvements for the bridges, new stabilizations. Or whether you're Donla, David Gallo is just lying on the couch, sitting on the couch, just in tears, the biggest smiles on their faces, looking at each other right now and be like, Gaval, what do we just go through the last 30 minutes? Guys, it's like the most special Chabura and since the beginning of stealing Torah, really. Just so real. B'ezrat Hashem, we should just continue to watch this and really just learn from it each and every day. Guys, be well.